Welcome to American Family Insurance DreamBank, where we believe in the transformative power of dreams. I'm Madeline, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. Here at American Family Insurance, we believe communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and digital experience dedicated to dreamers everywhere. From our daily event series to immersive signature programs, there's something for every dreamer. Our always free offerings are designed to help you celebrate the dream journey, overcome obstacles, and stay motivated. I'm so excited to introduce you to Dr. Christine Whelan. She is truly phenomenal, and I will let her tell you a little bit about herself. But if you want to just drop something into the chat about how you're feeling today, I know the sun is shining here in Madison, Wisconsin, so I definitely have a little boost of my happiness. But feel free to drop one word in the chat of how you're feeling. And Dr. Christine, I will pass it off to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Maddie. It is so wonderful to be here with all of you. And yes, please jump in the chat and give me a word or two about how you're feeling, what brought you here today. When we're talking about embracing success and failure in your dream pursuits, these are kind of big topics. So please drop in and let us know how it's going. So my name is Christine Whelan, and I have a lot of wonderful titles. I am known as the Purpose Professor at Emory University, and for more than a decade, I was also known as the Happiness Professor here at UW-Madison in the School of Human Ecology. So I am really fortunate to be able to study the intersection of what matters most in people's lives and how to make it happen in terms of actionable steps. And today we are talking about the idea of embracing success and failure in your dream pursuit. And this is a topic that I have wanted to do for so long because it's one that's really near and dear to my heart. And it's great to see everybody chiming into the chat, that we have some cautiously optimistic and some motivated and some happiness. I know it's these are big topics, and I am really appreciative that you have joined me for this journey. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I love this topic so much. It's because I've had really quite a journey myself. So uh, let's rewind back in time, more than 20 years, to the beginning of my career. I had graduated with a PhD from Oxford, and I was living in New York, and I decided to write my first book. That was a really big step, but it went incredibly well. All of a sudden, I got a publishing agreement from Simon and Schuster, and I was writing my first book. Now, my first book was called Why Smart Men Marry Smart Women. And it was, and what was sort of funny about this was that I was actually a single woman at the time myself, and I was on the New York City dating scene as I was doing the interviews for this book. So I kind of had these two purposes going on here, right? I was dating and trying to build my personal life, and then I was writing this book, Why Smart Men Marry Smart Women, that was shattering the myth that men were intimidated by smart, successful women. Well, this was really exciting, and the book came out. And as the book came out, it came out with a bang because people were really kind of excited about this topic. So I was able to launch the book on Good Morning America. I launched the book sitting across from Robin Roberts in October of 2006. Okay, so little Christine, I'm like 26 years old, and I'm on with Robin Roberts on Good Morning America. Now, in addition to talking about my book, I was also announcing some other news, which was, as I'm like sitting there, by the way, looking at kind of terrified, right? By the way, that look on my face is absolutely terrified young Christine. This is the, oh my gosh, like 20 million people are watching this, and I'm just terrified to be here. But I made it through the interview. And in addition to talking about my book, I was talking about the fact that smart men do marry smart women and that I was engaged to be married. So I was showing off my engagement ring on Good Morning America, talking about why smart men marry smart women. And I got married. My wedding announcement was in the New York Times. We got married in St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. It was huge. It was public. It was a big damn deal. And um, and by all accounts, I was a huge success until my marriage fell apart and I got divorced. Now, when you write a book called Why Smart Men Marry Smart Women, you have your wedding announcement in the New York Times. You go on Good Morning America showing off your engagement ring, and then you get divorced. It is both heartbreaking personally and really professionally devastating. It was an incredible sort of shock to my system because I had been raised to be perfect. I had been raised to always succeed. I had been raised that, like, if you want people to love you, you've got to be perfect and awesome. And so my divorce was not just the end of my marriage, but it really shook me to my core. Was I a fraud? Was everything that I was talking about wrong? My imposter syndrome went through the roof. It was a mess. And I was sitting on my bed crying one afternoon, which I did a lot during that period. And I said, I don't know, maybe I'm just entirely a fraud. I am the happiness professor at UW-Madison, but I am anything but happy. I study purpose and meaning formation, but I don't know, do I have a purpose? Does any of this matter? And so I did something that might be a little, what's totally embarrassing to me, but it might even be embarrassing to you. I sat there and I thought, what can I do? And I looked up and I saw my most recent book that I had written. This is totally a true story. It was called The Big Picture, A Guide to Finding Your Purpose in Life. And I was in such bad shape that I didn't know what to do. So I pulled out my own book from my bookshelf and I was like, come on, I wrote this book, Doctor, Heal Thyself. I need to figure out what my purpose is. And I got to my purpose statement, the beginnings of a purpose statement exercise. And I thought, okay, can I do this? How can I pull myself up from one of the biggest failures of my life and figure out how to go on and to really use my gifts in keeping with my values to live the kind of purposeful life I want to live? Now, in that moment, I did not have all the answers. I kind of tossed my book aside, I'll have you know, and I probably just cried a lot more. But over the coming years after that, I came up with a sort of a way forward. And what I want to talk to you about today is that journey about how to be authentically you, embracing both your successes and your failures as you put your dreams into action. And so there are three things that I want to talk about. First, that there is freedom in failure. That may sound somewhat surprising, but I found a lot of freedom in my very big failures. That purpose is a verb. It's not something that you put on a wall and forget about, but it's something you do in your daily life. And that community, storytelling, and coming together like you are right now is incredibly important on your path to understanding and embracing your failures and celebrating your successes along the way. So let's dive in. All right. So, number one, there is freedom in failure. All right. So, what does this mean? Well, first of all, uh, I told you one of my sort of failures in life, and I would imagine that you have some of your own. I don't have to know you to know that we're all human, right? We all have some failures. So here, I've put up some quote unquote failures that we may have had in our lives. Let me see in the chat. Will you put like an ugh or something like that if one of these relates to you? You put like an ugh or an oh my or an oy vey, right? Because we've had these experiences. You know, we've had a breakup. We've hurt someone that we loved. We've taken a risk that didn't pan out. Oh yes, here are the ughs and the yeses coming in. We've lost. Oh, I love it. Thank you, by the way, because the secret to this slide is these are not just random. That all of these, I have done all of these, right? These are all failures of mine over the years, right? And I think you could come up with a similar list for yourself because we've all been there, right? There are a lot of double Uggs here too. Yes, I completely agree. We have all been there. And the lesson that, and I've learned several lessons out of this. The first lesson first is that you are not alone, is that when we have ups and downs, we tend to think of the ups as like the things that we should only talk about the good things that happen to us. But really, it's important to share those down moments too, because all of us have been there and we are not alone. And there's strength in the fact that we're not alone. Now, here's another list. It's a little bit of a different list, but take a look at this list. And in the chat, if anyone wants to hazard a guess, what do all of these events have in common? So you can win a full scholarship, you can meet a high-powered person that gets you where you want to go, be the perfect fit for a job. Then there are elections, there's a death of a parent, falling in love. Yep, these are absolutely life-changing events. They also do require resilience. Excellent, excellent. I see the chat coming in. Aha. Oh, Katie for the win. As Katie put in the chat, we can't control them. Excellent. That's it. So yes, these are all emotional events. These are all events that could be considered a success or a failure. But the thing about all of these events, which also all happened to me, is that we can't control them. And when we think of things that we can't control, humans like control. We thrive when we feel like we're in control of our lives. But there is there's always something we can control. We can control what we do. We can control the actions that we take, but we cannot control other people's reactions. We can't control global events that are outside our control. It doesn't mean that we can't take proactive steps, but we do acknowledge that there are things that are out of our control on our path to success or failure. There's this wonderful parable that I want to read because when we talk about what we can control and what we can't control, it often can make us feel a little bit overwhelmed. So here is this parable. It's a Sufi tale that perhaps you may have heard before. A farmer and his son had a beloved stallion who helped their family earn a living. One day the horse ran away and their neighbors exclaimed, "Your horse ran away. What terrible luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." A few days later, the horse returned home, leading a few wild mares back to the farm as well. The neighbors shouted out, "Your horse has returned and brought several horses home with him. What great luck!" The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." Later that week, the farmer's son was trying to break one of the mares, and she threw him to the ground, breaking his leg. The villagers cried, "Your son broke his leg. What terrible luck!" The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." A few weeks later, soldiers from the National Army marched through town, recruiting all the able-bodied boys for the army. They did not take the farmer's son, still recovering from his injury. Friends shouted, "Your boy is spared. What tremendous luck!" To which the farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." Now, this tale is really encouraging us to understand that there are life events that happen that are out of our control, and we can attribute positive or negative to them. We can think of them as successes, we can think of them as failures. But for so many of these things, taking a more detached attitude of maybe so, maybe not, we'll see, is actually the right way forward. So this brings me back to my story and the core lesson that I learned from all of this, which is that you do not have to be perfect to be loved. I very much believed growing up that I needed to be perfect to be loved. And so failures were really, really personal for me because it was terrifying that my whole world might fall apart, that nobody would love me. When you take a maybe so, maybe not approach, when you understand that some things are out of your control, and when you understand the fact that we are all experiencing failures in our lives at various points, then we can get to this point where we know that we are loved and we are worthy, even if we are not perfect. Now, the other element of words like success and failure is that they're mostly used as nouns. These are nouns that kind of get us stuck, right? That we think it's a one and done. It's happened and there's nothing we can do about it. There's another word that's often used as a noun that I am going to invite you today to think of as a verb, because verbs create action. Verbs are ways that we move forward with our dreams, that we embrace possibilities. And this word is purpose. Now, purpose is one of those words that is in the cultural lexicon, but I feel like everybody's blood pressure goes up when they think of purpose, like with a capital P. Purpose is something that people often describe as your singular life aim, the one reason that you get out of bed in the morning. And that's quite challenging because, of course, that's purpose as a noun. But when we think about purpose as a verb, we can think about it slightly differently. So I describe purpose as really a mindset, as a way that we can build brick by brick toward a life of meaning. And when we talk about building brick by brick toward a life of meaning, what that means is looking at the small things that we do every day, the small steps that we take to building something that matters to us. Often people think about purpose as the big castle in the sky that we're going for. But when you think about it only as the big completed castle, you might discount the things that you can do today to build a life of purpose and meaning for yourself. So I describe a purpose mindset as using your gifts in keeping with your values to make a positive impact on the people, the ideas, the causes that you care about most. And when you take that approach to purpose, it becomes something that you can do on a daily basis. So, as we think about the path to building the life of success that you are looking for, as we think about how to put your dreams into action, I encourage you to think about this purpose mindset. And when we are trying to do something, when we're trying to maybe change, when we are trying to deal with times of uncertainty, and right now, we have a lot of uncertainty. We have uncertainty in our economy. We have uncertainty in the job market. There's the uncertainty of artificial intelligence and AGI and where things are going in the future and whether our jobs are secure. In times of transition, when we are asked to make changes, purpose becomes more pressing in our lives. And what I mean by that is asking what truly matters to you. How do you want to use your gifts in keeping with your values to make a positive impact? Not necessarily to change the world, but each day in your family life, with your teams at work, with your friends, with your social organizations, and the groups that you care about. How do you use your strengths in a way that matters to you? And so one of the things that I have done over the years is that I put together a Mad Libs purpose statement exercise that I'd really encourage you to consider as a daily purpose statement. So you think about it just for today. What are the values that you want to guide you today? Maybe it's things like honesty or resilience. Maybe it's care for the environment. Maybe it is the idea of being broad-minded and open to the ideas of others. What gifts do you want to use? How can you use your gifts, whether it's of organization or translation, whether it's a relationship-based gift or something you do with your hands? How can you use your gifts in keeping with your values to make a positive impact? We've talked about some of the challenges around failures. Well, the fear of failure is one of the fears and anxieties that often comes up when we make one of these big changes in our lives. And honestly, it comes up every day as we look at our to-do list. Or maybe that's just me. But we still make conscious purpose-based commitments to actually do something. And Tanisha, thank you so much. Yes, my hope with this purpose statement exercise is that it demystifies that big idea of purpose and puts it into a small steps program that each of us can use in our daily lives. And at the end of this discussion, I have a QR code where you can download a printable daily purpose statement and also have access to a digital version of this purpose statement exercise. So this is something that I'm going to make available to all of you as a thank you for being here. So yes, there will be a digital one and an analog that'll be coming to you. All right. So we have this idea that there's freedom in failure, that purpose is a verb. It's something that you can do on a daily basis. But there's one other element of this, and this is the fact that you don't have to go it alone. That we rise, we achieve our dreams, we live the life that we want to do in community with others. Humans are social creatures, and we don't have to do it alone. Now, I had an ex-boyfriend who years ago said to me, Christine, wow, you're your own biggest fan, aren't you? He did not mean this as a compliment, but I took it as one. And it became one of the core lines that I have embraced in my life. Be your own biggest fan. Now, when we talk about success, I think it's really important to remember that you have all had many successes as well. So embrace that main character energy, embrace those successes, and just in your mind, or you can put it in the chat as well, think of one success that you've had today, this week, this month, a recent success. All right, picture it in your mind. And then when you have it in your mind and you're sort of celebrating that win, what does it feel like in your body? What does it feel like for you to have that sense of success and accomplishment? For me, I like sit taller. I square my shoulders back. I'm more open to the world. So think about what it is, how that feels for you. Because that feeling is pride, that feeling is empowerment, and that feeling is one that we absolutely want to highlight in our lives on a day-to-day basis because you are doing really wonderful things. And so much about my daily purpose statement exercise, or really about embracing success in your journey in general, is about giving yourself credit for the terrific things that you are doing on a day-to-day basis. Oh, look at all these positive and happy things. Oh my goodness, there's work successes, there's retirement successes, all sorts of accomplishments coming in the chat. That's terrific. Now, when we think about these positive things, though, we're thinking about them for ourselves, but we can also think about other people and the other benefits that we can give to others and the positive impacts others have had on our lives. There's a wonderful parable of a teacher who wanted to teach a lesson to her students. And what she did was she had everyone in the class write their name in a Sharpie marker on a balloon. And then she brought them into a hallway and said, now throw the balloons down the hallway. And they did. And she said, okay, now go find your balloon. And all the kids go running down the hall, elbowing each other out of the way, and nobody can find their balloon. And she says, okay, stop. Now grab the balloon that's closest to you and see whose name is on it. Now give that balloon to the person whose name is on it and see how fast this goes. And in less than 30 seconds, every kid in the class had their balloon back. And she said, you know, your happiness is like this balloon. If you're only looking for your own, it might be hard to find. But when you give to others and you engage in that giving and pro-social behavior, not only do they find happiness, but you also get yours in return as well. And so that's an approach I like to think about when it comes to thinking about success in general. How can we celebrate our successes and share in the successes of others? Because as you pursue your dreams, there's no need to grow it alone, right? We always know there's no need to go it alone, but there's no need to grow it alone either. You can grow your successes, you can grow your joys in community with others. One of the ways to do that, though, is to tell a story of success. Because, personal narratives actually can be very powerful. You can tell a hero's journey story of overcoming obstacles. You can tell a story of success, or you can actually tell a story of everything is going well, and then all of a sudden it turns and everything goes to failure. You can tell a story in chapters, chapters that are successful, chapters that are more struggles in your life. But I invite all of you to tell a story that is generative, that creates, that moves towards success, and to really build these chapters in a way that you are thinking about your purpose, that you are thinking about your future redemption out of times of difficulty. We all have times of challenges, but what is that next step that we can take? Because maybe those are going to be really big challenges in our lives. Maybe so, maybe not. I now look back at those difficult times around my divorce as actually being the best thing that ever happened to me. Because to be honest, I was Little Miss Perfect beforehand. I thought I had to be. I forgive myself for being that way. But it was through failure that I got to write another story, a much more authentic story. And I'm much more me on the other side. I would imagine there's a story that you can tell of your own life where difficult things have happened and you've come out the other side. Now, do you come out the other side as a totally different person? No, but you do come out the other side as more you. So asking those questions of what are you called to do? What is the first step to take on this path to purposeful action? And how can you tell a story of redemption? Because really the most powerful people in the world are storytellers. And that's all of us. That is you, that is me. We can tell stories of our lives, personal narratives of meaning, of what matters most to us, and how we can make it happen in our lives and in the future in a way that hopefully will have impact on the lives of others. Now, I know hopefully some of you are excited about the idea of this daily purpose statement and a bunch of other resources. So if you are, please feel free to scan this code, or you can go to that website. If you're on your phone already, you can go to that website and put in the code SUCCESS, and you will have a free download. There are a couple questions that I would very much appreciate you answering in terms of feedback on the talk, but then you get you're going to get the daily purpose statement exercise as a PDF, and a daily digital purpose statement exercise if that's more your speed. So these are all free resources that are available for you. But I just want to leave you with this final action step. Here are 3 possible action steps. Think about things you can control today and focus on those. Let go of the rest. Maybe do a daily purpose statement and take some small, meaningful steps toward your future in a way that is authentically you. And maybe consider being your own fan. Write a story of redemption on your path to authentic success. Think about which one of these 3 you want to prioritize today. And I really appreciate that you made the time to be here. So thank you so much. And I look forward to continuing this journey with you.
Thank you so much. I know I took a bunch of notes today, and I think I'm going to practice being my biggest fan. That's going to be my immediate takeaway and kind of practice it over the next 2 weeks and then check in and see how it is working for me. But I appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom and truth. And so thank you so much. And thank you for everyone for tuning in and learning alongside of me this week. And until next time, friends, thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.